Alright, here we're going to look at finding the surface area and volume of a triangular prism. However, this one does not, it has an equilateral triangle on the top, not a right triangle. So it's going to be slightly different, but very much similar. So if you watched the previous video, you saw me unfold this prism. So that means we unfolded the top, unfolded the bottom, so it looks something like this. We're drawing the net here. And then we're going to unwind the faces, and it's going to look something like this. So we have an equilateral triangle on top and on bottom, and then we have three rectangles in the middle. Sometimes you'll see it, I think on my net coming up here, it has one on the right, one on the left, where I took this rectangle and I really had it over here. But in this example, it just unwinds them. So you end up with three in the middle, and then a triangle on top and a triangle on bottom, where everything's kind of the same. The rectangles in the middle are the same, the triangle on top and bottom are the same. And that's because these bases are equilateral triangles. So let's take a look at this. Let's look at the next one. This is the net. The sides are 4, 4, and 4, and then the height is 10. So it's very similar. To find the lateral area, let's see here, the lateral area. Sorry about my penmanship here. We find the area of all of these parts. So this, this, and this, but we're not including the bases. So 4 times 10 is 40, and these are all 40. So 40 plus 40 plus 40 is 120 units squared. The surface area is going to be a little bit more messy because we have to find the area of this triangle and of this triangle. So let's take a peek at one of these triangles. I'll try to sketch it down here. Let's take a little closer investigation of this equilateral triangle. There we go, that's pretty close. So we'll call these sides 4, 4, and 4. Oops. 4, 4, and 4. So we need to figure out the height of this triangle in order to figure out the area, because the area of this triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Well, we know the base is 4, but we don't know what the height is. It's not 4, I can assure you that. So what I do know is that this side here would be 2, because we're just splitting this in half with this 90-degree angle, this altitude. And so if we want to figure out the height, we could do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to do 2 squared plus x squared equals 4 squared. 2 squared is 4, x squared we'll just call x squared. 4 squared is 16. We'll kind of give ourselves some room here. We subtract 4. We get x squared equals 12. And then we square root both sides, and we get x equals the square root of 12. Then we have to break this down. So the square root of 12, we could write this as the square root of 4 times 3. Well, the square root of 4 we know is 2, so this could really be written as 2 times the square root of 3. So we know everything we need to know for the area of this base. We've got the base of the triangle is 4, and the height is 2 root 3. So the area is 1/2 times 4 times 2 root 3. So 1/2 times 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So the area of this triangle is 4 root 3. And I'll write that in a different color up here. This is 4 root 3, and this is also 4 root 3. So the surface area is 120 plus 4 root 3 plus 4 root 3. And we can combine these two, so it's 120 plus 8 root 3 units squared. Now we can't do anything more with this because these are not like terms, so we have to leave it like this if we want the exact answer. If you want a rounded answer, we would just take 8 times root 3, and then add that to 120. So let's take a look at our calculator. We'll say 3 square root is that times 8. We get about 13.88 or 13.86, and then we add that to 120. So we get 133.86. So it depends on what your teacher's looking for. If they're fine with rounded answers, you'd say it's about 133.86 units squared. Or if they want the exact answer, you would leave it as 120 plus 8 root 3. It all just depends on what you're looking for. So then the volume really doesn't change much. We'll do kind of volume over in this section. We'll use blue, because we don't need a ton of room. The volume is still area of the base. I'll abbreviate area of the base times the height. Okay, so the area of the base we found was 4 root 3, and the height is 10. So the volume is 40 root 3 units cubed. So the volume, doesn't matter what kind of prism it is, it's area of the base times the height. And it works for prisms and cylinders. And then if we wanted to get this as a rounded answer, we would do square root of 3 times 40, and we get about 69.28. So if your teacher wants exact, leave it 40 root 3. If they want rounded, 69.28 or whatever decimal they want. Okay, so that is the volume and surface area of an equilateral triangle base prism.